Hi, this is Raman from tradingwithvenus.com. Here we'll take a look at some Trade Copier trades. The purpose of this video is to go through the trades that I took as part of the Trade Copier service and really get behind the scenes in terms of why the trade was taken, what kind of setup I was looking at, and how I exited the trades, that type of stuff. The benefit of this type of a video is to really get in the mindset of a trader to understand how a person is taking a trade under live market conditions and then to learn from that. So I hope you find this video helpful. Before we get started though, just a quick disclaimer, just to make sure you understand that trading is a risky business. There is an opportunity to lose money every single time we enter a trade. It can go with us or against us. So please do realize that. The first trade that I want to talk about is New Zealand US dollar trade. So this was a short trade, and the setup that I looked at was head and shoulders a trade setup. So if we go back, this is New Zealand US dollar 15-minute chart. So if we zoom out, we see that overall the bias was to the downside for New Zealand dollar. And as we can see here, when price came into this support and resistance level here, price dropped, and then today I was looking at price to come into actually the same support and resistance area here. I was actually looking for a double top trade setup. What happened instead was that we saw this head and shoulders trade setup instead. So instead of price testing the same level again, it instead came into this previous support resistance area. So if we were to zoom in, we see that price had gone into the support resistance, had dropped from here. We had a left shoulder here, then a head, and then price came into the same level here, same support resistance level, and then bounced off of that. So instead of going higher, it just turned right here. So as I was watching it, I saw that price started to go sideways here, and then we had this nice bearish engulfing candle close. So overall, the pattern here is head and shoulders, but we also have this bearish engulfing candle close. So that shows us that price is likely to drop from here. So I took an entry on the close of this. Actually, the entry was taken off of the 5-minute chart. So let me just go in there. So if you see on the 5-minute chart, we had a nice bearish candle close, a bearish candle close. So actually the entry was right up here. So a few pips higher than here. So it's just easier to show it on a 15-minute chart, but from 15-minute perspective, we have a nice bearish engulfing candle close as well. So good level to look at the trade. Overall, the bias was to the downside. So we're working with the trend instead of against the trend. Price gave us a nice head and shoulders pattern followed by a bearish engulfing candle close. So overall, that was a good setup to take a trade in. And in terms of the stop loss was up here. So I was looking at this support resistance level in case price would go over here. So I put it a little bit higher than that. So stop went up there, and my target was actually lower here. So I stayed in the trade as price was dropping, and then price came into this S1 level of our pivot point here, came into the S1 level, pushed up from there. And so this is where I exited the trade, because at this point I wasn't sure where the price was going to go. So I exited the trade, but as we can see a little bit later, price did drop lower. But from entry to exit here, I got 25 pips in this trade. So what we have here is Aussie US dollar 15-minute chart. And if we were to zoom out, we'll see that price has been dropping here for Aussie dollar, and overall the bias is to the downside. And then a price was kind of going sideways here. So when I came to my trade station here, price had dropped and pushed back higher here, and this is kind of what we were looking at. So price pushed up, it went sideways here, and then we got this double top formation. So here we have double top right in here, as well as this intraday double top. So two different confirmations for our double top here, and we had this support resistance level that price was in. So I waited for price to give us this nice bearish candle close here, and that's where I entered the trade short. And in terms of the stop loss, I put the stop loss on the other side of this R2 level because we were very close to R1 here, and I just looked at this support and resistance plus our R2 level. So that's where I put my stop loss. And the target here was all the way into the bottom here, 0.7085 was the target. But as the price was coming down, I was sitting there and price was not really doing much. It gave us this pin. So I got a little impatient and just clicked out of the trade because we had sat there for a long time and I was starting to get a little tired. So I exited the trade. So from entry to exit, we got 20 pips in the trade. But as we can see, a little bit patience would have paid off because price did come and test this S2 level, and then finally it got into that 70.85 level that I was looking for. But overall, it was a profitable trade. And so just to recap here, what I was looking at was, first of all, looking back, overall bias was to the downside here, and then we have the support resistance level. Price had pulled back to do a back test of the support resistance level. Just get this out of the way for a second. So price had pulled into the support resistance level yesterday, and then today it did another back test of the same level here, giving us a double top, intraday double top, as well as immediate double top right here as well. Twice price rejected the support resistance level. So that gives us a good idea that price is likely to drop from this point. So I entered the trade short and I'll just let it play out. Then when we had this pin here, I exited the trade, but as we can see, price did go lower and a little bit of patience would have paid off a little bit more here. But overall, a profitable trade. Another trade that I took today was evening star trade setup for Aussie yen. So this is a 15-minute Aussie yen chart. And if we were to zoom out, we can see again, Aussie yen, the bias was to the downside. Price had come into this previous support resistance area, dropped from here. So I was looking at this support resistance area for a reaction. Our R2 level for of the pivot point was right there as well. So there were a couple of things right at that level. So as I was watching the trade, price went into this level. It wasn't there wasn't a lot of momentum here. As we can see, price is just chopping around, going back and forth, and then price goes into this support resistance area and we have a bearish candle close. And as we can see now, we also have a double top trade setup here. So we have an intraday. So a couple days ago we had reaction here, and at the same level price is reacting, so it's also a double top trade setup. But if you look at these three candles here, these form our evening star trade setup. In an evening star trade setup, we usually see price goes up and we have an indecision candle or some sort of a pin in the middle, followed by a reversal candle, a bearish candle. So in this case, we had this evening star trade setup, which is where I took the entry. Again, stop went above our R2 level here. I was looking at this support resistance area just in case price decided to go higher. So that's where the stop was. And the target was actually at this white line here. So I was looking for price to come into this S1 level. And so my profit target was at 78.85. However, it did not quite make it there. But before it even got there, I actually exited the trade right here because I saw Aussie dollar was struggling. And with this one here as well, once the price closed with this bullish pin bar here, I wanted to exit the trade because at this point I wasn't quite sure where the price was going to go. So we had enough pips in the trade to pull the trade out. So from entry to exit here, I got 20 pips in the trade. But as you can see, there was a little bit more room to take some additional profit. But overall, the trade was successful. So between the three trades, we had a New Zealand US dollar 15-minute chart here. We had 25 pips in that. We had 20 pips in the Aussie dollar and then 20 pips in the Aussie yen trade as well. So just to recap, overall, we had 25 pips in the New Zealand US dollar trade, 20 pips in the Aussie dollar trade, and another 20 pips in the Aussie yen trade. So overall, we got 65 pips for the day. So not a bad day of trading, especially when there was news coming out in the London session, so I was reluctant to take trades in euro or the British pound because they tend to get moved around. Even though it was British pound news that was coming out, sometimes euro gets pulled with that as well. So I was trying to stay away from that. Usually I don't trade Australian dollar or New Zealand dollar in the London session because they don't tend to move too much. However, this time they did set up, and as we can see, the range wasn't too much, but we still managed to get some pips out of that. So hope you enjoyed this video. If you'd like to learn more about the Trade Copier service, so just to let you know, it's a subscription-based service. You can disconnect your account at any time. You have complete control over your trading account. I cannot access your assets. I cannot touch your deposit that's in there. And it's all you do is you just get the same trades that I take in my trade account. So any trade that I enter in my trade account will get copied to your account automatically. And you will also receive my stop loss and take profit targets. And as I manage the trades, you will get those updates as well. In order to subscribe to this service, right now I have a promotional price where there will be no setup fee and the per month cost is only $297 per month. However, at the end of September here, prices will go back to regular price, which will be $997 per month, and there will be a setup fee of $997 as well. However, if you are interested in subscribing to a yearly subscription, you only have to pay $2,970 instead of the $11,964 if you were to go at the regular price. So right now, this is a great savings. And just so you understand, there is risk in trading, and I do not run any EAs. I do this myself. So it's manual trading on my part. Anytime we enter a trade, there is an opportunity to lose money as well. So it will not always be winning trades. There will be wins and losses, but overall, the idea is to come out ahead. So hope you enjoyed this video. And if you're interested in the Trade Copier service, you can go for the monthly subscription to the bit.ly here, Venus Copier Monthly, or for the yearly, you can go to Venus Copier Yearly. The links will also be in the description below. That's it for today. Hope you have a wonderful day, and I will see you next time.